Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Hello and welcome, poker fans around the world. It's Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You know what that means. It's time for Rubber City Poker,
That's
Poker on
right.
Air.
Here we are, another Tuesday night, hanging out in the poker penthouse.
Trevor, I have missed you. It's been the last time I saw you was Sunday when we had our all girls sit and go.
Yep.
You can catch that. You can catch up on that on the archives of Twitch. But
That's
Trevor, tonight is the night that I've been waiting for all week long.
I think we've all been waiting for quite a while, haven't we?
I have 3 words for you. Just 3 words.
What were those?
Crush, live, poker.
That's right. We do have a special guest commentator tonight coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. His name is Bart Hanson. Go ahead, Bart. Say hello to everybody. Thanks for coming on our show. This is a huge milestone for us, making ourselves a little bit better each and every week, and having you a part of it is obviously a huge stepping stone in the right direction for us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the great things about our show, Bart, is that we're highlighting and spotlighting the games that the average everyday player like me and like Trevor are going to be up at the casino actually playing. If we're broadcasting or what we see on a lot of the like ESPN shows and those type of things, they're doing high stakes, high dollar games. I'm not playing people like that. I don't have the bankroll for that. So what we try to do is we're trying to display poker skills for those buy-in levels that we can all handle. And Bart, I'm glad you're here. It's awesome that you're here. My skills as a poker analyst are going to be humbled and bowed down to your massive superiority tonight.
Well, it makes two of us then.
All right, we're gonna head out to the poker table and we're gonna meet tonight's players.
Sounds good.
Maybe we're gonna head out to the poker room. There we go.
There's a beautiful shot of our players. Uh-oh. Looks like in seat 1 we have our dear friend Golf Paul Moskowitz. Not sure what he bought in for, but I'm sure it's plenty to win plenty of money tonight. Next to him is Jesse. Jesse's a regular at the Horseshoe. He bought in for $1,000 tonight, and obviously a big fan of the Cleveland Indians. Next to him is Ryan. Ryan bought in tonight for $600, and he's got the I thought I was gonna say he had the look of a champion, but now it looks a little just silly. Next to him is our main man Cooch. Cooch is our tournament director, rocking the poker on air hat in the shades, and he just says peace on earth.
Why so serious?
And he bought it for 500. Next to him is Rudy. Rudy's a regular on our show. He's played PLO 1-2, and it's our first 2-5 action with him, and he bought it for 500 tonight. Next to him is Chris. Chris is also a regular at the casino. He bought it for $1,000 today. Can't wait to see how he plays. Next to him is Carl. Carl, for some reason, is a New York Mets fan. I'll have to ask him about that later on. But Carl bought it for 500 this evening. And next to him is, you guys named him, is White Ivy, Pete. Pete has played on majority of our shows, and he also bought it for $1,000.
Team Ivy.
Team Ivy.
All right,
Ivy.
we'll let our dealer take his place at the head of the table, and let's shuffle up and deal and get this going, Bart. What do you think?
I have to read the menu.
Okay. Yeah, if we can figure out how to get Bart's voice up, that way we can hear all of his amazing critiques of these hands. So we'll work on that on our end. Until then, we're going to see what happens on the table here.
All right, there's our buy-in. Well, that was a quick shot of our buy-ins for tonight. Action is going to be on Mark.
So if you have a photographic memory, you could have seen that, I guess.
I saw there was 2 1,000s.
Yeah, I think I had those labeled, but
15.
Rudy's going to kick the action off with a King Queen offsuit. Under the gun +1, bet $15.
I have a feeling we're gonna have a little bit of a feeling out process early on. A lot of these guys are 1-2 guys, so we'll see how they feel about playing slightly higher stakes.
Ryan does come into the pot with a 9-10 suited and hits a gutter ball.
This decides not to peel. Let's go, and Rudy's gonna win our first pot of the night.
Did you watch the ladies' game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, I wish I could have seen it.
What's up, chat? Nice to see some of those names we've seen before.
Individually like that, so some things can be heard.
5 to go.
All right, we're checking into the audio right now, Bart.
I think Rudy's gonna limp, and I win.
Really? That doesn't seem like Rudy to limp.
I just saw aces. Where'd this go? I could swear. There they are.
There it is.
I was like, I know we saw aces somewhere.
Is Pete going to be in his magic seat again? Week over week. The guy just is a card rack.
And I do believe Pete and Carl know each other. So I think the fact that Pete's 3-betting right off the bat might raise some eyebrows for Carl, but yeah, he's already talking about it. Pete actually, that's the first time Pete lost. So Pete has crushed every week. Last week he was doing some really funny stuff, like raising under the gun +1 with like deuce 3. I think he was just like feeling his oats. I'm not sure what his plan was, but he is like definitely not on his game. He ran a pretty decent bluff on another player, and the player made a pretty awesome call with like 4th pair, but it was just one of those nights that it wasn't working for Pete.
Yeah, I think he's been a regular. Like the first 4 weeks, our first 4 broadcasts, we were playing 1-2. I think he's at least doubled his buy-in plus each one of those games, and then he did play in the PLO game. Didn't fare so well in the PLO game.
I think he started off pretty bad, and then but he actually ended up making like $300-400 or so at the end.
Joe Sal, his name. 15.
Jesse's gonna
What's
raise
up,
it up.
Matt? Thanks for the follow.
Jesse's gonna raise it up with Jack 10 suited.
Love the game. Thank you for the follow as well.
And Jesse's gonna hit mid pair.
Rudy's kind of known to be a defender. There's no surprise he wouldn't see a flop there.
Yeah, he easily gets out of this hand. But he does like to see a lot of hands. He likes to see a lot of flops.
Rudy's a bit of a bulldog. But in this case,
And it's gotten quite a
this
following
case,
in
he just
our
kind
chat
of
room.
whimpered away.
I'm seeing out in the field. I'm seeing about 3 or 4 guys I know that are regulars up at the Horseshoe Casino. So there's some gameplay knowledge amongst the players. However, there's probably 3 or 4 in the field that don't know the 4 that know each other. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, I would say.
Carl leads out with pocket 8s. Raises a 15.
Actually, 3 of them that play the Horseshoe regularly are all sitting right next to each other in a cluster.
I know, it's kind of crazy. And then there's Jesse.
Yeah. So Carl makes a 15 under the gun with a couple 8s.
Rudy's queen looks pretty good right now.
I think you just put a dent in the table with that check, though.
Does bet out 30 into $50 pot.
I'm a little surprised Carl didn't c-bet there, to be honest with you. Like, you were planning on calling now, why wouldn't you bet to flop, in my opinion?
Ooh. Third queen just solidifies Rudy's hand.
Right. Yeah, I mean, how often is Rudy just gonna be blasting away with like the Jack 10 or something goofy like that?
Trevor, I'm gonna run to the computer
Little boys'
and
room?
see what.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna go see what's going on with the
You
sound.
should have
here.
went before we started, Dan.
You need a plug?
That's fine.
There's one over there somewhere. There's an, see on the floor?
We always think we have it all ironed out, then little things always seem to creep up.
Charge your card. Okay, got it. 15.
Golf ball makes it 15. 100 gun plus 1. Ryan, who just lives to make Paul's life miserable, calls behind 6-7.
Where are you guys standing? Huh? Where are you guys standing? I'm going down at the beginning of May, like the second week of May.
I'm going the Monday after the board league, and that's it.
Is that the fourth, right?
Bart, start talking. We're gonna see if we can figure this out.
So two hearts out there, ace, queen, queen, 2 hearts and a diamond. Someone's got a flush draw and someone's got a gut shot here. Golf ball Paul. Ryan's got a flush draw with 6-7 of hearts. And so both players don't have anything. Now Paul picks up a diamond draw as well. So gutter to a jack and king 10.
Oh, I think they got you, Bart. I think
Oh, cool.
I think the chat room had just
Awesome.
eargasmed.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so the chat room is thrilled.
So chat room, it really wasn't a bait and switch. Bart is really here. we weren't just lying about it and just putting pictures of him up.
Nice pot for Paul. Barreled all 3 streets. I think they lost us.
I'm sorry?
Oh, maybe they lost Bart.
Oh,
Bart got disconnected for a second.
maybe we are bait and switch in here.
The other
Whoopsies.
cards have been marked. I mean, marked. The winning hand should be the last one.
3 aces on board. Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
We're trying to get Bart reconnected through Skype, but now we got the audio fixed. Everything should be smooth when Bart reconnects.
By the
with
way,
us.
while you were gone, golf ball just pretty much just 3-barreled into Ryan when Ryan had a flush draw and ended up making Ryan fold in the river.
Wow, I missed that. Cooch with Jack King suited. Looking up golf balls, King 10
You got me.
spades. What?
Chat, can you hear me? I think I lost my audio. Am I there?
I can hear you.
I feel like right when Bart went out, I feel like I couldn't hear myself anymore. But golf ball with the same hand back to back.
We're on for 4 hours tonight, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Thanks, Shades. I think Paul Boston's getting pretty antsy with that chip count situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps just popping it up for a second.
What is Cooch's card mark? Is that like Sonic the Hedgehog?
It looks like it, but like Spider-Man edition? It's hard to tell.
Seems like it.
Carl. Okay.
Yeah.
20 now.
We'll be bringing Bart back just in a second, everybody. No fears.
Say it again. There was a lot of bees.
We'll be bringing Bart back in just a second.
One more time.
Bart back in a second.
Bringing Bart back in just a second.
Bringing Bart back.
Golf ball Paul. Couple jacks versus Chris.
This is his third hand in a row.
Diamonds. 2 diamonds hit the flop. Paul's overpair. He's gonna pop another bet here.
I missed the action. Did Chris open and Paul call? Is that the situation we're looking at here?
I missed it too because I was looking at your face.
Yeah, that happens. What's up, fish head?
Paul does bet 35 into Chris's flush draw.
35, 177. Sounds good to me.
Chris comes back, bets 105. Raises.
This is actually almost exactly what Bart was talking about in the video I watched last night. Raising someone that leads into you, because if you pump it up like this, it's going to be a situation where if they just have a 9, they might not be able to stand the heat. So this is actually pretty funny that a hand's developing just like that I was watching no less than 12 hours ago. 24 hours ago. Let's do math.
Paul's trying to wonder what's going on here. Is he re-raising? Maybe he's wondering if he's got a set, 2 pair. Flush
This
draw.
is where I screwed up by not seeing the action pre-flop. If Paul just called,
I can imagine the way Paul plays.
I'm guessing he just
with
called.
jacks. No, I'm
he's kind of
thinking-
bopping in his seat. I feel like doing all these like gymnastics in your seat, like showing your face, and like there's so many cards that come in. There's so many cards that can come in on a turn that they can just ruin his day.
We'd like to welcome all 581 viewers into our stream at the moment.
Got the hype.
Got the hype. Bart Hanson is commentating tonight with us. We just did lose a Skype connection. We'll be bringing him back on as soon as our producer can get him connected again.
But screw you guys, we have a pretty awesome hand going on right now.
But I'm kind of cool. I'm like Bart Hanson cool minus 1,000.
Chris barrels again. I kind of thought he actually would go even bigger than that. I think this is the kind of situation we talked to Paul about it a few weeks ago, where he doesn't really think about what would happen on a turn. Like we talked about, like, all right, you decided to call the raise and the flop. Well, the 5 of clubs doesn't change a whole lot on a turn, so why would you fold turn? So I think that's definitely in the back of his mind. Oh, there it is.
There's the ugly card, and I think he knows it. What does Chris think he can get away with here?
So-
Twisted Hulk. Thanks for being.
But this isn't a situation though. Like if you put him on a flush draw, like aren't you trying to chase out all the draws? I think Paul should just shift on turn. Personally, I wish Bart was here to disagree with me because I wonder what he would say. We were playing 2-5 today, endless, $1,000 cap, 300 min, but the lowest buy-in today was 500. So. You are correct, 3 aces. We're working on trip 6. Trust us, we're working on it. We've been looking forward to this for a couple weeks now, so this is definitely not part of the agenda. It's hard to get called by worse, but it's also hard to get called by a flush draw with 1 card to come, in my opinion.
You could have aces, huh?
What?
What was he thinking there? Look at Ryan. Ryan's like, what?
Joe, hang on.
Thanks, Craig Pullen. We'll let it root for the home guys.
Thanks, Greg. It's hysterical.
Listen, though, I'd rather have Bart here than me anyhow, so.
And a nice little pot for Chris. This game's officially out of the muck.
That's right.
And I'm glad Craig called him Barth. That is hysterical.
Chris takes the chip lead, 1270. I haven't had one orb of the game, and it's on. It is on, Trevor. It is on.
It is on.
Good hand. Thanks. Good card.
Yeah, I've played with Chris a couple times. I doubt he remembers me because I was a little nitty guy in the corner. But watching him, I know he's playing on a higher level than most guys you find at the lower stakes in the casino.
Oh yeah, I've played with him numerous times at the Horseshoe Casino. I think he likes to take money from me. I probably bought his outfit today at some point.
Chris feeling his oats with the 9-10.
And Carl calls with pocket sixes. Wait on the flop. Gives Chris mid pair. Checks his option.
I think Chris knows that Carl, for the most part, is a fairly conservative player. I would not be surprised if Carl bet. Say 25. Got like at least 30 there. Betting a call here.
Do you think Paul still makes that fold, Don?
Yeah, Don, that's actually a really good question.
40.
No one bought in for less than 100 bigs, so not terribly short. Nobody bought in for min or anything.
$40 bet.
Carl gets it done.
Gets Chris to fold.
So if Wendy wanted to come to Ohio, she's more than welcome to. I'm sure we could find a way to get her in the game. This is our 7th or 8th broadcast.
Yeah, I think this is our 7th week.
7th week.
We're still
We started
in
at 7 o'clock though.
Oh, maybe that's the question. We're baby Twitchers with a high quality product.
I think we will eventually get wireless mics for everybody.
There is a mic.
Right now we just have a boom mic in the center of the table, like hanging above. In all honesty though, no one really talks. They just sit there in silence.
20.
But that is something that we will work on.
Martin Riggs 03, thanks for being a follower.
How much?
60.
Carl moves from pocket 6 to pocket 8.
I call.
Ball.
Skimjaw, thank you for the follow.
Golf ball Paul with his ace queen.
The Gamer's Life movie. You as well. Appreciate you guys hanging out on the stream tonight.
Oh, yeah. 3 players. Check.
Golf ball outflops his opponents here.
Top pair, top kicker.
105.
I'm all in.
All in and out.
Golf ball wasting 0 time. I don't think he can get his hands off his chips before they fold. And I think I was correct.
Yep.
He was still in the middle of squishing them out there. We are in Akron, Ohio. Skimjaw. We are not in a casino. We are not affiliated with a casino as of now. We're just doing this on our own accord, on our own dime, having a good time. We have not figured out the split pot games yet, no. Something we're looking into for the future.
Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely, we're definitely peaking. Definitely peaking.
Yeah, we had some problems with Bart's Skype connection and some audio issues. We got the audio fixed, and we are working right now to get the Skype
See,
connection.
Bart's
pumped
right
back
there.
in.
Crush Live Poker. That's Bart Hanson. He's in the chat room with you, hanging out.
That's up.
He's missing this great hand, 6-8, 6-9 offsuit.
Wow. Snap check.
20.
I'm just a big fan of just pausing for a second. Just regardless if you know what you're gonna do already, just take a second and just think about it.
Mark gets the card he was looking for.
So Mark helps us out here. He helps coordinate the players that come on stream, and so he knows Pete. He knows how Pete
I think
Pete
we're
plays.
calling Bart again.
Hello. Hello. Hey.
Hey, Bart, you're back,
Okay.
and we've got
Super.
you.
Thanks for picking
Can
up
you-
the phone.
So now, I just need to make sure.
Well, hello. Mark bets 55 out on a straight. Pete with his 8, still thinking his pair might be good.
But Pete's really good at soul reading, so we'll see. Thanks, Martin Riggs. Appreciate it. Many hours, blood, sweat,
See-
and some tears.
So you guys hear me right now, right?
I got you.
I hear you. Chat.
All right, cool.
Chat,
Cool.
let us know. You hear Bart? Oh, Pete did call, and Mark wins a nice one.
I was just gonna say I was gonna come in the middle of that hand, and I mean obviously I only saw the river, but everything gets there though. Like Jack 9, 6-9. I don't even think the 6 really plays, so that's a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
But then again, it is kind of a smaller stake, so people will call down a lot more. That's why a lot of the times in these games, like it's 90% value and really not that much bluffing at all.
Right. Looks like the chat is happy to hear your voice again.
All right. Yep. I'm monitoring the chat. I'm typing in as Crush Live Poker. I am very impressed with the way that his name is Leonard, right?
Yes.
Len?
Yeah.
How he fixed that really quick.
Oh, he's a genius.
Yeah.
We'd be nothing. We would nowhere without him for sure.
Right. He's an actual TV producer by trade.
That's right.
Nice.
We lucked out snagging him. So Carl, who I thought was like fairly close to the best kind of player, has really been playing a little more open than I thought he would.
20.
I like the C bet here, Jack 7-5 rainbow. You've got some backdoors. He's got a gutter to an 8, backdoor diamonds, backdoor straight draw. If the guy doesn't have a jack, he can't really hold on for a couple of different
Right.
bets. So I like that. Obviously, he takes it down.
Never really super crushed, especially when you had the lead in the hand.
Yeah, and I like the way that you guys have this game set up too. Your 1-2 is a 500 cap game. This is a 5-5 1000 cap game. So it gives you the ability to actually have a little bit of play where when you're playing a 100 big blind cap game, like a 5-5 500 cap game,
Right.
if you raise and a couple people call and then you put out a continuation bet on the flop, the hand's pretty much over on the turn.
That's
Like
right.
there's never going to be a river play. But when you're playing 200 big blind stacks, like finally we've moved to a little bit in LA. It took them 10 years. It's you can actually play poker at the $5 blind level. And for you guys, you can play it at the 1-2 blind level. That doesn't exist in LA. It looks like Ryan's got pocket rockets here.
That's right.
At least you didn't call American Airlines.
That makes Trevor really mad.
My ears begin to bleed.
Mark looking him down with his pocket fours. Thanks, Len.
Wow, everyone's got a hand here. Oh, Chris in here with a couple tens.
40 to 440. Oh,
Now, what does seat 6 have over there? What's that? What's his name? Made the call.
Chris.
Pocket 10.
Oh, see, it's not. Okay, yep. Oh, look at that.
Good start for
Got a
pocket
set.
tens.
Yep. Now it doesn't look like Ryan's all that deep, so
Yeah, I think
you
Ryan,
know.
Ryan started with 6, and I think he lost to like the second or third hand.
Yeah, if he bets large here and Chris like plays this fast, usually at this level, aces are going to get it in. Now the interesting thing here is a lot of people think, well, it's better to have aces with the ace of spades here, and that's actually not true. If I have 2 red aces, I'd rather have red aces here instead of say 2 black aces, and that's because if I think my opponent might be playing the nut flush draw fast, obviously I'm pretty far, or I'm ahead of that at least. But here, so with 2 red aces here, he could have the nut flush draw. If I had the ace of spades in my hand and he's going to raise me, if Chris is going to raise me, then he wouldn't have the nut flush draw. His hand would be pretty skewed towards more value.
Yeah. What do you think about this raise size by Chris to 200 over Ryan to 70?
It went 70 to 200. I think it's fine. I mean, I think you could have even made it like 175. I mean, if Ryan was deeper, I would probably want to check raise a little bit, larger.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so shallow. You could even get away with making it 160. I mean, I would be super impressed if Ryan folded here. It's just really tough when you're this shallow to fold on such a draw-heavy board, especially if some players actually overplay like a queen here. If a guy ever check raises like king, queen, or ace, queen, I don't think that's likely when Ryan fires 70 into the pot. It is a 3-bet pot, but yeah, there you go. Looks like he's going to move it in.
He is shitball.
And of course, Chris snaps, and Ryan's looking for an ace.
Does not get it.
Yeah. And that's actually an interesting spot where even though Chris wins the hand, right? And but he called 35 cold. He's just like not even it's very close to be like he's very, very close to not being deep enough actually to set mine there.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes when you make a 3-bet like that and a guy calls with like a $300 stack, say like 10% of their stack, doesn't matter if you win or lose the hand, you're actually winning money with aces because he's losing over the long term.
Right.
Mark will set you up.
Nah.
By the way, Chris is happy as a clam right now, stacking his chips up to his chin. I'm trying to figure out if Ryan's planning on reloading here, or if we might have another player coming in.
I think it sounded like he was going to reload.
What's the biggest like no limit game that you guys have in the area, like in Cleveland? Do they run a 2-5 sometimes or what?
2-5 runs pretty regularly. I don't think they get a ton of tables, but other than that, not much higher than that, unless there's some sort of NBA team in the area for the night. Every now and again, they get it going, but for the most part, 2-5 is basically the max.
I played 5-10 a couple Sundays ago, right next to the big center from Golden State.
Bogut?
Yeah, Bogut. Yeah. The Australian guy. Yeah.
That'd be pretty
God,
fun.
he's big.
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
were in town to play the
Clippers.
Clippers.
Sitting right next to him, or?
He was in seat 5 and I was in seat 4, and he was telling me that a lot of the guys were into poker and it just makes their like plane faster. He had just flown in from Milwaukee.
Yeah, I just assume they always play on the plane. I just figure that's always happening. People writing IOUs and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it looks like Jesse here has got top pair.
I missed it. They go bet call. Did Rudy just fly with this king high?
It looked like it.
I told you he's a bulldog at times. He said, "Don't let the gray hair fool you."
No, I mean here 5-3 comes in if he ever calls with that pre-flop, but I mean I've made a float like this with king queen before, but usually I'm gonna rep clubs. If the guy continues to bet on the turn on a 6 of hearts, it's just I think he usually is gonna have something. I don't think a guy's gonna continue to fire with like ace king, ace queen on that turn card. But Rudy's just gonna do it with air. I've been doing TV poker for a long time, and sometimes it actually like gets the bluffing. It really increases the bluffing frequency. Mm-hmm. So he raises here, and Jesse just calls him really quickly.
Rudy give
See
up.
if it represents the flush.
See if the white flag comes up or not.
Well, that's a really interesting card because if Jesse thought that Rudy was raising with clubs, they get there. But sometimes people don't even bet a flush here at the end because they're scared that the other guy's got a full house now. So there's many different dynamics when the board pairs and it breaks a flush.
It's like Rudy puts out a
Rudy
couple hundred.
He just dropped a hammer here.
I mean, the only things that you can kind of like beat here, if you're Jesse, I wouldn't have thought that Rudy would have a stone cold bluff. Might be a hand that has a straight draw with hearts in it, or like 4x of hearts, ace 5 of hearts, ace 3 of hearts, something like that. Some sort of gutter on the flop that turned a backdoor heart draw.
Yeah.
That's about it.
These are two guys that know nothing of each other, so this is going to be really fun to see if Jesse can put it all
Well,
together.
if I'm Jesse and I don't know Rudy and I'm just looking at him, I mean, yeah, I'm getting like a little bit over 2 to 1. I don't think I'm good here 1 out of 3 times. I mean, obviously we can see the cards, but I might have mucked the turn. It looked like it was kind of a small raise. I might have played like a call and see what the guy does at the end. Now that the club comes in, it's just all you do is really beat air, and I never would have thought that Rudy would have, air here.
Right. I mean,
which is why it's important to pay attention to what's going on.
It goes back to your 90% of the time, like it's just sheer value. So in a spot like this, it just seems like Rudy always has it. So yeah, I agree. I think if that were me, and if I was going against Rudy with just Queen Jack, I probably would have found a muck by now.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy is kind of, what we use the term polarized. Like when he bets this river, he usually is going to have at least a straight, or he's going to have a bluff, but I just don't see that many bluffs. Like, we don't really have to worry if we're Jesse about Rudy, like, value betting like King Jack or Ace Jack. It just wouldn't play out that way, and you can see that the bluff worked. Wow.
Sick play by Rudy. I didn't know he had that in his arsenal, so good for him. So we do have a new player entering the table. I think his name is Joey, but I think someone will let us know here before too long.
So that you're actually not familiar with a fair amount of these players, huh? Or their first time?
A lot of first timers, yeah. Like we said, 2-5 doesn't get off a ton, so finding players to come sit down here and play tonight wasn't exactly the easiest, but looks like we got it figured out by now. Oh, I know.
That's pretty cool though. I mean, if you just go to the casino and you know some guys and stuff, and you say, hey, well, we're not charging a rake. You just have to, play on our table with the cards for our broadcast. That's a pretty good deal on both sides.
For sure. Yeah, that's kind of like our situation with you. It's like we're scratching each other's backs, and it really helps both of us. I think once we keep, gaining a little popularity, people will start asking, hey, I heard about this show. Can I get on there? And that's when it'll be a lot easier on our end. We're still so new that people are still trying to figure us out a little bit.
Well, obviously Twitch is a great thing with now that that's blown up, and now that they have it on the front of 2+2, so people can just like see,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, because right now if someone's on 2+2, they say, oh, poker on air, what's that? They click on it, and it's like, oh, it's a live cash game. I'm gonna watch this,
Yeah, we've actually stepped up our game over the years. We decided that if we're gonna go and broadcast this as a internet medium for us, that we're gonna make it look like the best. We're gonna make it look like the best show that we can produce.
Yeah, it looks really good because I've seen some of your stuff. I think a lot of people might not know that you guys, you have all your old shows on your YouTube channel. I think if you just search on Poker on Air, it'll come up. So all those shows are on there. You guys did a PLO game a couple of weeks ago that was really cool, and I was quite impressed with the way all the cards work because I've seen this type of table with 4 cards, and it just a lot of the cards don't register, but you guys had it worked out great. So you already have 7 episodes up there from this year for these people that are watching now that might not be familiar.
Back when we started, probably 5-6 years ago, you wouldn't believe it, Bart, but we actually had like 10 USB web cameras that people held their cards in front of, and then we had a team of people that jotted down what the hands were and ran them to the announcers so they can know what we had. It was a mess, and it took a whole team of people to put this together, and now with the RFID technology, it just makes this thing awesome.
It's like Jesse just picked a booger off the table. Thanks, Jesse. We do appreciate it.
Well, Pete's got a big hand here.
Yeah, he does.
Flush draw and a gutter.
This is more typical how Pete runs. If he doesn't straight out flop the goods, he's got more outs than I don't know. Fill in the analogy.
Well, see, this is interesting because I always talk about like draws. How do you play a draw on Crush Live Poker, right? And if Mark was a little bit deeper, I would probably drive this draw a lot. When he's only 500 deep, the main purpose of semi-bluffing is so that you can get a fold, and now Pete's hand improves to a double gutter up to a king and to a 9, but Mark makes his aces up on the turn, and Mark's not going anywhere here.
Right.
And when you know that Pete would have 3-bet queens pre, the only thing you have to worry about is a set of 3s here. I don't think Pete's necessarily going to call and then check raise ace queen on that board either. So with that type of draw heaviness, and if I thought that Pete was a guy that drive draws, I actually would definitely consider raising the turn with ace 8 just due to the fact of all the card combos. And there's the flush there on the river.
I was thinking the same thing. You know, Mark knows Pete's a fairly aggressive player, and he could be betting all draws there. I think I agree. I think raising
All in.
turn seems like the more probable approach.
Pete does move all in, and Mark gets a face of frustration.
Yeah, I think he's got a hernia. He won't be watching.
Yeah, and
that
I
play
don't
for a
know
while.
if Pete ever plays like ace 3 this way. Well, actually, he would never play ace 3 this way. I was for some reason I thought he had. Did Mark make the call there?
He did.
He did
yeah.
make the
Oh
call.
yeah.
I
I mean, a
curse.
lot of times people get kind of wrapped up in like their own hands, like, oh, I've got aces up, I have to call, but there's really no difference there, pretty much between like ace 8 and maybe even like ace king. I mean, it just doesn't really make any difference unless Pete specifically had like queen 8, but I don't know if Pete's like moving in there when the heart comes in with queen 8 when it comes in at the end. So.
Right.
I'm serious.
Can he switch, Mark?
Alright.
They can do it.
You wanna move over there? Yeah, dude.
Well, Pete's back in the saddle. He took a few hands off, but he's running like he usually does.
Took a week off.
Can you move to
He's making up for lost time last week.
now? Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I don't really mind the way that Pete played that hand at all. I mean, I think the ace is actually a pretty good card that I would continue on with on a bet, because usually if the guy bet that flop and then he called, he's going to have like a queen. And then on the turn, yeah, I mean, occasionally he can run into aces up. That's unlucky. But a lot of times if he has like king, queen, queen, jack, pocket tens, and you just bet the turn after check raise, he's going to fold.
Right.
Is that how that works?
I need your chips out.
Yeah, I'll get it for you. I have
I need to.
Sub Tyrell. We start at 7 o'clock, so we've been at it for about 45 minutes or so.
One of the things I will say from doing this type of commentary for so long on a different show is that, you know, you kind of have to train yourself to not guide your opinions by the cards, which is hard to do, right?
I'm learning that day
Very
by
hard.
day. The chat reminds me of my motivations at times, but it's good. It challenges me to make sure I'm not being completely oriented to results and everything. So I have to try to pretend like, you know, if I didn't see the cards, what would my opinion be then?
You like that turn card or no?
It's just one of the things, like on that queen 8-3 board, that's like a really cool hand because, you know, if Pete has the nut flush draw, maybe he continues on to bet after the check raise that he check raised the flop. You know, king high flush draws are usually going to turn gutters when the ace comes in. Jack 10 turns a double gutter. The only thing you're losing to is a set of threes. So if Pete's that type of guy that's going to drive those draws, I think that you actually should raise with ace 8 on the turn.
Yeah.
Look at me with malice. It's not intentional.
Look at me with malice.
Yeah. I just think that. You probably don't
Everything
remember.
okay, Len?
You called me once.
But, I mean, I remember playing with you. I know I played with you a bunch.
20.
So apparently,
Cool, but like people off with Joe.
The day before, I
Mets hat. What's his name?
things down. Please.
Carl didn't like the stink of Pete, so he moved over into to the 5 seat there.
Oh, yeah, we played.
And actually, I think I've seen.
I played in Jan. It's either that or every time he raised, Pete 3-bet him.
Yeah, I mean that gets annoying for a minute too.
That combined with the odor.
But now he has the 2 biggest stacks both on his left, so interesting.
Oh,
move.
wow. That was like a free card that just came off and Joe hit a set on the turn.
I know I've seen you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people would say, well, I check king jack here to get some value, but people don't usually give you credit for a jack. I think I'm almost always betting king jack there on the flop. I think Joe would have called anyways, but it's just, you know, I'm thinking about the flop play.
Yeah, I think you guys have some decent history together. They are 2 regulars at the casino, so there might be some underlying things that we're not aware of. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't understand really checking that flop.
But in Chris's mind,
Well,
I mean,
again,
go ahead, Bart.
I was gonna say, like, if people were to be like, oh, he's playing pot control, he's not playing pot control because he just raised the turn.
Exactly.
Or he's just raised the turn. I mean, Joe loses obviously to 9-10 in a set of jacks, but especially if they have history, I would probably just bet 3-bet and then bet the river. You know, this guy could be raising on the com with spades. I think a lot of 9-10s and stuff, c-bet on the flop. I'm not really scared here. And there he does. I like it. I like the bet 3-bet.
Give me a shot, Chris.
And now, of course, if you're Chris, maybe you'll start to level yourself. You're like, well, I check back the flop and now I'm raising the turn. Maybe this guy thinks I'm full of it. From my experience, guys, playing, professionally for 10 years, usually I play 5-10 and 10-20, but at the 2-5 level, if you check back the flop as the pre-flop raiser, then raise the turn, I can count the number of times on one hand I've ever seen somebody bet 3-bet from out of position as a bluff against your perceived strength. If you actually think about that, you know what I mean? Because you look like you've got a set of jacks. So, I don't think that Joe would necessarily. He might not even bet 3-bet like 7-8 here, even though it's kind of the same type of hand. But although you do bet, with 8s you beat set of 7s and set of deuces. But I see a lot of guys from up front just call with 7-8. So that when he bet 3-bets, it's like he's never going to have queen 9 of spades here or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. PJ, can we put the camera on Chris?
There he is. Look at chips. Look away. I think our ladies game the other day, I think we had like 6 hands played by now. Those girls did not tank whatsoever.
Well, Chris makes a lay down there.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him.
Wonder if he regrets that check on the flop and not betting there. I guess in my opinion was, I look at that flop and I'm like, King Jack, I'm innocent flop, rainbow, Jack high board. He thinks he can get away with one more card, but that card kills him.
I think yes and no. I think Joe probably sticks around. And
Yeah, that's what I'd said too. I don't think Joe's gonna fold anyway.
Bigger.
So.
I think in a weird way, Chris sort of lost min in that spot.
Got lucky to lost the minimum.
Right.
I do want to shout out to a couple of people, obviously, actually a bunch of people that I know in chat that I think are checking out your show out.
Let it rip, man.
Let it go.
The Hammer, DP, Buck. I see you guys over there. Thanks for joining us. And everybody else too.
I think I've seen the Hammer here a couple episodes ago before. I think he's checked this out before.
I think he was here either last Tuesday or we might have saw him on Sunday for a second.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the Hammer in the chat's not the guy that you're talking about.
No.
Because the Hammer in the chat's a chick.
Well, either way. I think we saw the name maybe.
Yeah.
They did not disclose their sex.
But the Hammer in the chat is one of those guys, when I emailed you guys this morning saying that she would love to come and play on this show, I'm sure. She does a lot of traveling. She plays 2-5.
Next time she's in Ohio. Swing on by the
she's actually traveling to St. Louis. She's like one of those people that have frequent flyer miles that sometimes have to take trips. Mm-hmm. She's traveling to St. Louis just to play Big O, if you're familiar with that, because they have a Big O game in St. Louis. It's a 5-card PLO 8.
That sounds incredible. So we had a limp pot here. Now it's a battle of so-so kings. In 7 plays, so Joe's gonna win another pot here.
Yeah, I don't know if Joe was like blocking that, or if it went check on the flop, maybe he thought that he was going to get called by a jack. I missed kind of that flop action there for a second, but that's a pretty thin value bet, if he's betting there to get called by worse. And, You know, if he was, then I would definitely keep an eye on him for sure, because he's rightly recognizing situations. By the way, just out of kind of confusion for me, is seat 1 vacant right now? So everybody's kind of moved over a spot.
Yeah. So
is that what's going on?
we have that boom camera, and having someone at seat 1, it comes right in their ear hole. So if we can, we gotta have someone vacate that one.
I see. So that's why I'm off in my players. Or sometimes it looks like they're.
Yeah. It is kind of nice to see standard race sizes though, compared to what you see at times at the casino, where people are making it 10x on the regular.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Well, these guys seem to be making it 15, right? Something like that.
15 or
I think
20.
I think that's a little bit small though at 2.5. I mean, everyone always says that the games are not as loose as they are in LA, but it's not really the amount that you're making it pre. It's just you want to raise for value the maximum amount where you'll actually get calls. So, if you've had aces or kings and you could raise to 25 at 2.5 and get the same amount of calls that you're going to get raising to 15, then you've lost value.
Yeah. Good point.
Are you a regular in the chat? Are you? They're having a good time.
Yeah, chat room. Carl is usually one of you, and he's out there rocking the Mets hat in C5.
Carl's normally day shift in our chat room.
So if you're wondering where he was, you get to finally see him.
Excuse me.
Trying to figure out why Paul would lead into that.
Yeah, he's
that board of that bet there.
He's got top pair flush draw. Wait,
Things are
I think
getting a little screwy there.
I think Paul's a little behind on his.
Wait for it.
He said he was at home and he was maybe hanging out with some girls tonight or something. I'm not sure.
I mean, a lot of people go nuts with top pair and a flush draw. I mean, raising that flop would actually be a semi-bluff because it would be pretty difficult to get called by worse. I mean, I guess you could get called by like a queen jack. I think, did it just go check on the turn?
I think
so.
Yep,
it did. Yeah. Oh, I see. Rudy's out of position, and yeah, I think Paul was probably just taking a stab at that, maybe
So I've been listening to Bart for like 50 minutes now, and I just realized how terrible of a poker player I am. I'm going top pair flush draw. All right, I'm throwing money at this.
Well, I that's one of the I talk about that a lot. That's actually one of the. I think it's one of the more overplayed hands in Hold'em where people don't actually recognize that, maybe you got like king, queen of hearts and the board comes out like king, deuce, 3 with 2 hearts. And you're like, oh my God, what a hand, right? But then you got 2 people that are showing crazy action in front of you, like a bet and a raise, or something like that. Well, if you don't think those guys are going to fold, you could easily be up against a set there, and top pair and a flush draw against the set is not doing well. So you got to, kind of figure out the situation.
Yeah, it's not like you just turn a switch on like, oh, I have top pair flush draw to just match in the middle. They're like snowflakes each hand, Everyone's different. You gotta figure your way through them. Just don't put them on your tongue. It's awkward.
Raise to 50 looks like it's a 3-bet pot, huh?
Yep. And again, these guys definitely have history. This could get fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see some action. I mean, Joe's got middle pair, he flopped middle pair, and a backdoor diamond draw, and you can see Jesse with the nut flush draw in a 3-bet pot. Well, Joe's just going to check it back here with some showdown value. Well, there's the flush card. And I think you just got to release here if you're Joe. I mean, once you 3-bet, check back that flop, and then the guy leads into one of the scare cards that should hit your range, you just
Exactly.
give it up. You don't have equity. Forget about it. And you know, in a more I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
I did not see that coming either.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh
That might even
wow!
be-
Look
that
at
might
that
be more
card.
trouble for Joe.
Unbelievable. Huh. And now, if I'm Joe, and this guy leads river, I think this guy's got a king. I think I raised this river here. I mean, I'm the thinnest of thin value bettors. You got to look at Jesse's stack size so that you could possibly raise fold the river, but he makes it 125. I'd probably bump this to like 300. I mean, the only reason why I wouldn't raise here is if I thought that Jesse was so short with what's left that I couldn't fold to his re-raise. But if you were playing a little bit deeper here in a 3-bet pot, I don't expect someone to have a suited hand here all that much. It appears to me that Jesse has a king, and I'm going to make a raise that, you know, might not make a lot of sense, but I expect it to get called a lot here. It's a little bit awkward sizing, or it's awkward stack sizes, excuse me.
What? 360.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks exactly like Jesse has a king, like majority of time. Getting 3-bet, flatting out of position. I mean, it looks like ace king super often. So I
375.
agree with what you were saying about Joe being able to raise there.
I think, no, did Joe raise though?
No, he didn't end up raising, but like.
I think he did. No, I think you made it 375. That's what your graphics say, and Jesse just
Oh,
called
he did.
it.
He's
looks like.
flat
Yeah.
back. Okay.
Yeah,
He's
it went
called.
375. So I, you know, again, that doesn't surprise me when I saw that King 7 hand, that this guy's a thin value better. I don't mind the play. The only thing that I don't like is the call on the turn.
Now, Bart, I don't know if you're familiar with what's just going on at the table right now, but we have a sweeten the pot hand every now
Oh,
and then.
yes.
underneath.
Quite literally.
I am familiar with
Sweetening the pot.
So we have some delicious bakery goodies. I'm not exactly where they're from tonight. Someone's gonna have to give me that information. But whoever wins this pot not only wins all the chips.
They are
in
from
play.
they are from Justice Desserts.
Oh, just desserts.
Yep.
Now, is that a local cupcakery factory in Ohio, or in
It is.
specifically Akron?
That is, it is local. However, they do have a website, and I don't know if they do some shipping or anything like
I
that.
figure if some of our viewers wanted to get some cupcakes, I'm sure they'd find a way to get them to you.
It's from Jessica's Cupcakery, and she's been providing treats for us a couple weeks on our broadcast so far. And
Probably the best way to get a hold of her is to go to Facebook and search her on Facebook for Justice Desserts. Just Desserts.
just desserts.
I made him come all the way down here.
And Carl wins the pot with his aces and a bet.
I have like a strict diet.
Gets cupcakes.
Yeah. Maybe I
Typically,
get
our
one for
players
the
share them around.
Boy, there have been so many interesting pots here in the first hour for stuff for like Crush Live Poker. I mean, the other thing that I didn't
If I give you one, you stop betting.
get a chance to say is that, you know, if I'm seat 3, which is, what's his name
Joe?
with the C hat?
Oh,
Joe.
no, Jesse.
Jesse.
Jesse with the
Oh,
Cleveland
Jesse.
Indians
If
hat.
I'm seat 3 there and I get raised on the river to 375, and let's say I only have like 550 left, I'm shipping Ace Jack of Clubs there. I think he missed it. I think that he should have just reshipped the river. It's likely with that action that that guy has a 5 as opposed to pocket kings, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why
I don't think he's checking back pocket kings on the flop. I think he runs into a 5 more often. So, hey, this is something that I call like reverse pot odds on Crush Live Poker, where it's only a little bit more for him to call, so I can put it in even more thinly. Now, if we're 2,000 deep, I can't put in that re-raise on the river.
Yeah. I think that's why I was slightly confused by the action. I just assumed, you know, Jesse didn't have a ton back. I just assumed the rest of it was going in the middle. So when he flat called, I was kind of surprised by that.
They said they don't want anything from you.
What? Oh, man.
Oh, I didn't realize Carl was trying to bribe us back here. Is that why? I think that's why he was setting him to the booth.
Diabetes, Carl. Diabetes. I can't pass out tonight. Bart's here.
That would be bad timing. To re-raise 15 pre-flop with 3s. Jesse called out of the big. Rudy c-bet, and Jesse's in think mode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you called it with Queen 6. I mean, I guess I know it's just $10 more, but
But $10 with
have-
no antes, this doesn't seem like.
yeah, and then he folds the best hand, obviously, which is, you know, you can't really continue on there, but.
Right.
I think that's.
I
Probably,
wonder how many people who are watching this. By the way, I know that your previous record was like 400 viewers, and now it looks like there's 1,200. The other thing too is that I don't usually when it gets to this many viewers, like on a stream that normally doesn't have that many, like when it goes up to 3 or 4x, somebody's hosting it. But I actually don't think anybody's hosting it. I think these are actually natural viewers here, which is quite exciting for you guys.